going on, you guys? Just wanted to start the weekend off with doing some indice analysis. So I was doing some backtesting on EURUSD just now. That's why I'm on EURUSD now. But let's just look at starting with the major US indices, and maybe we'll throw in some other some other European indices. So Nikkei, FTSE. So I'm going to throw the FTSE in there as well in case we want to look at that. Trying to pick a good data source here. I don't really trade the FTSEs. I don't know what the best data source for these is, so let me just try currency lock. So let's get started. So we'll refresh all this over these drawings. So if you watched the previous indice video, we're kind of pulling into these levels that I outlined on that video now. Recently this week, that's what we've been doing. So we've pushed down into those levels. So we're now at like a key point, right? A key inflection point. So we're looking at the weekly. Again, we can see that we've run out those highs, right? But we could definitely be pushing lower, to be pushing for these lows, and to continue running out these lows, and even run all the way lower here, right? But we've also, again, pushed down into the daily, and now we've broken below a swing low on the daily. Right? So that's not great. It's now, kind of a bearish signal on the daily. So we'll see what happens. But like I'm saying, this is a key inflection point, right? So 4 hour. So in terms of the daily action, before I get down to 4 hour, what I would expect to see is a likely pull up into this area, set up the swing high, and push back down. And then that is the key point, right? If we get this in terms of setting up a swing high, gonna push back down, especially if we push up into this daily fair value gap, then we're gonna be at a very, very important point in the market, because if we run out this high on the daily, for example, and we're still holding on the weekly in terms of bullish, that could be the jumping off point for us to get bullish on the S&P and likely other major US indices. Whereas we set this up, right, push down, and then we use this as a jumping off point to go lower, we could be heading lower on a lot of other major indices, again heading for this other area that we identified on the weekly, right? So key there is going to be, how do we move from here? Now we don't have to push up from here, okay? We could easily just push lower, right? Again, why would I say we could push lower? Lows. It's not great lows there, but like it's a swing low, and you got lows here as well, right? And then again, if we pop out to the weekly, you have this area, fair value gap, literal gap, okay? And again, besides all that, you have this candle in here, we trade down, and then trade out dynamically. So if we go down on the daily and look at it, all right, it's really down here, but again, just getting down to this area is a good possibility. Yeah, NASDAQ, looking at the NASDAQ, kind of the same thing, right? We pushed up on the weekly, but we have broken some low on the daily. So again, key area. So where could we be heading on the weekly if we do push lower? Well, NASDAQ's not as clean and clear as the S&P was, okay? But first likely area I would look to see if it's going to hold is this one here. Why? Because we do have lows here that we could run below, right? But still be pushing into this area here and still push up. So that's the first area I'm going to look at. And then daily, right? Again, why I'm saying that we could possibly just continue running lower. Right, on top of that, we've pushed above these swing highs, gotten some liquidity, pushed into this area, pushed down, right? Same experience on S&P, pushed above these highs, got some liquidity, pushed into this area, and then pushed down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we push lower, right? But again, we're at a key inflection point. So we could push up higher into this, again, daily fair value gap here, in this area over here to the left, right, to just push lower, or we could push up higher, push lower, push out those swing highs, set this up to go higher, okay? Again, key area on NASDAQ. Now, the VIX, we pull back into this area again that I identified on previous videos, but I'm going to go ahead and delete all of this. So get on the weekly, push lower on the VIX, okay? And then, you know, much like S&P or NASDAQ in reverse, the VIX, we pushed above a swing high, okay? Even though we're bearish on the VIX in terms of the weekly, and it looks like we're pushing for this area up here, okay? Now, again, much like NASDAQ, S&P, what's going to be key is how do we move after we push into this area. Can we just push above it? Of course. If we push up, push down, set up a swing high, first the one above, okay? And then push above, of course. Or push up, push down. We now have a swing low right here. And this is a jumping off point for us to push lower and continue lower on the VIX. So, you know, kind of like the inverse, kind of like your USD, DXY, if you trade currencies. Now Dow Jones has been moving kind of by itself, but it's finally kind of caught back up, quote unquote, S&P NASDAQ. It was kind of pushing up higher as S&P NASDAQ, pushing lower, but we finally pushed below swing low on the daily on Dow Jones. And then we get on the weekly, we have a run above this swing high here, okay? So we pushed into this area, and again, same story, different index from S&P and NASDAQ, right? So not really going to go through that. Now, let's look at the FTSE. So looking at the FTSE, most recently pushed below swing low. That's key on the weekly, daily, and now we've pushed below swing low on the daily. So we kind of got some agreement on the FTSE here. So it's looking kind of bearish. Then we have this nice daily fair value gap. 4 hour, sorry. 4 hour fair value gap in here with this candle where we trade up and then trade down. It appears to be a trade down dynamically. Yeah, we do. Okay. And then we have a fair value gap here and another fair value gap in here. Okay. We have this big candle shading these three eyes. We go 1, 2, 3, and then trade away dynamically. So this candle's low is the first area that I care about. Okay. So FTSE, gonna see if we can get a bit of a dead cat bounce up into this area here to possibly continue trading lower based on the daily, weekly, 4 hour, 1 hour. Okay. Now CAC, which is over in France. Let me see if they got another data source where I could get lower on the CAC. Yeah, currency.com is better. Alright, so weekly, we push below swing low, okay. Daily, most recently, we've pushed above the swing high, but it appears like we're pushing for a swing low. So probably the first stage trading is going to be very important. The first stage trading of next week is going to be very important for the CAC to how we move, right? Because we could bounce off this area higher as we just run above this high, right? But also we run above this high, collect the liquidity and push lower, so we could be continuing to push lower, right? And we could push up, push above this high to continue lower, but again, like I'm saying, we're going to see how we end up moving on first days trading. And then finally the Nikkei, get different data source, Nikkei, what am I using right now? Okay, so Nikkei, so on the weekly, pushed above this swing high right here. Daily, also pushed above this swing high. 4 hour. Okay, we pushed back into this area. A lot of gaps in this area, but just think about reading it like quick candles, right? as I've read more about gaps, and like understood like fair value gaps, I've become more comfortable trading like really disgusting charts, and kind of just seeing through the noise. So yeah, 4 hour, you know, most recently pushed above a swing high. We're still holding that as it stands. And on the 1 hour, we pushed below a swing low, and we're in this area here. So we're going to see how we bounce on the 1 hour. We have this big gap here, which I wouldn't be surprised if we filled. And then on top of that, if we look right above that gap, right, with the candle that, you know, starts the gap, we have this nice set of relative equal highs, and then as well, right above that set of relative equal highs, we have a nice gap in there as well. So we're going to see if we can push higher on the Nikkei, but we don't have to because we did just push below the swing low, and we do have gaps down here that we could be pushing for before returning higher, right? Because like we were saying, well, this would be a push below swing low on the 4 hour, but on the daily, this would actually be a push below swing low as well. So we'll see what happens, because we could, I mean, that doesn't change the fact that we could still push for this fair value gap, but it could change, you know, kind of the bias on Nikkei if we do push for that fair value gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if we push lower, but we also could definitely push higher. We've pushed below a low, collected some, you know, some stops, pushed into a good area. We have this gap to fill, this gap to fill. So wouldn't be surprised if we push higher. So that's like all the indices I'm gonna look at right now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, restful weekend, you know, and I hope you guys have a great trading week.